Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and it just seems like the Kroot videos are gonna have to just keep on a-rolling. I like to usually, with my content, have kind of an even balance of, I say that, and literally there's like almost no rhyme or reason to any of it, but I try to keep somewhat of a balance of like either like actual things I've made, like kit bash for painting videos, and then like 50-50 that, and then like other stuff, whether it's lore or it's new, reacting to new models and things like that. But I've been like fucking like feels like 5 videos in a row or something where it's just had to be, oh look at this new thing, oh look at this new thing, oh look at this new thing. And it's because they just keep putting out cool new things. I don't react to most things they put out because most of the things don't really interest me all that much or apply to me all that much, but obviously the Kroot guy's got to make a video on all the new Kroot things, and it's the fucking Year of the Kroot it's looking like. So basically what we've just been shown here is now the new Kroot Hounds, and they kind of arrived without like too much ceremony, not too much of a song and dance about it. They just kind of spit it out there on their Instagram and Warhammer community and said, here you go, have some new Hounds, fucking take it or leave it, like them or don't. And so what do I think about these? Well, obviously we already saw these basically with the Farstalkers kit, and I made a whole video basically talking about how I was like really confused about what GW was going to do with the Kroot, because they went ahead and made that Farstalkers kit for Kill Team, and it came with 2 Hounds, and to me it basically seemed like they weren't different or special enough to warrant being their own unit. To me, it would have made way more sense to call them just the new Carnivore Squad, and I honestly, that's what I thought. I thought that was going to be your new Carnivore Squad, and you just have the option to run a couple Hounds with them if you want to. But now that seems to not be the case. I see, obviously, I was wrong on that, and that's totally fine and good. And we have, of course, our new Carnivore kit and our new Hound kit to go with it. And so that to me makes me feel like kind of makes the Farstalkers irrelevant or like obsolete, right? Because like I said in that video, for them to be their own special different unit, specialist unit or whatever, they needed more to them, right? It's great that they had all these cool new special weapons and they had a new ability or two, but it wasn't enough. Like, if you want to make a dedicated, like, this is the Kroot Special Weapons Squad, and we're releasing it for Kill Team, and obviously you can use it for 40k as well. They needed to have the option to take, let's say there's 9 of them, 10 with the Kill Broker in the kit. You need to have the option to take like 5 of them with the same special weapon at least, if not all of them with a special weapon. Make them a squad of 5. Maybe they've got a little more armor on them than normal Kroot, and they've got some special weapons. But so that was kind of a, I don't know, that's why it was kind of confusing. It was kind of an odd choice for me that they weren't different enough, because in all but name, they basically just seemed like carnivores with a couple extra weapons, and you can take 2 Hounds with them. But now you can also take the Hounds just as their own unit, carnivores as their own unit. It's besides the point. I'm getting off topic. What do I think of these Hounds? I think the Hounds look great. I really liked the look they gave them for that Farstalkers kit, and of course I like the look here. These ones are a little bit more stripped down. They don't have all the special little bits of armor and like padding and stuff that the Farstalker ones had. These ones are a little bit more plain. They just have some little, like, basically like gloves, I guess, little doggy booties on their front feet, and some little bits and bobs like on their spines and stuff. But I really like the look that the Kroot Hounds got. I really like the direction they went. I kind of almost would have liked a little bit more variety, like if maybe, half of them had like longer beaks and half of them had shorter beaks, just a little bit more variation, not just all the exact same basically. But regardless, I think they look cool. They look very muscular. And that's kind of what I wanted to touch on is, so these look like they're in a unit of 5. So the way that GW prices their kits generally, right? Like, the way that things are priced out, they don't, like, nothing is cheap, obviously. Nothing in Warhammer is cheap. Doesn't matter how many points they are in game or how much of a weak little unit they are, basically. They're all like a unit of 10 across the board is similar in cost, give or take a max of like $10 or so. And a unit of 5 across the board is generally similar, give or take $10 or so. But I'll be very curious to see the price in dollars for these, because unless they really beef up the stats on these boys, which would seem a little bit strange, because like compared to other things in 40K, Hounds are fairly low on the pecking order. Obviously they can probably, they can kill some guardsmen and stuff, but you're not going to see like a Hound 1v1ing a Chaos Space Marine or a Terminator or anything of that nature. So there's only 5 of them in the box, so that's a pretty small box, but they are not a super elite unit like other 5-man boxes of things. Elite, those are like your more elite units. So like in game, these guys are, I think historically have been around the 5 to 6 point per model range, and I'm sorry, I love them so much, but I'm not paying $60 for, whatever, 30 points a models, give or take. So I'll be very interested to see the price, and then maybe because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they crazy beefed up their stats and they've changed the lore to be like, no, they can straight up bite through a Terminator's ankle if they want to. They're actually very strong. And maybe, I know in the little bits of, I should have all the text popping up as I'm talking. It does say that with their abilities and stuff, they're able to move a pretty crazy amount. I believe it was 30 inches in one turn. If they get lucky on their advance and charge, basically. So they are very fast, and they do have an ability to control an objective, when normally they would have a very low OC value, or actually I think it's 0. So yeah, like I said, that's the main takeaway, is that they look great. I'm glad they're there. I'm just a little bit confused and skeptical about how GW is going to price these. They used to be a box of 4, now they're a box of 5. They don't have many things that are like a good value. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm forgetting some of the things that are considered to be some of the worst offenders, but like basically the way GW is, like I said, everything's pretty similar. They don't take the points into it. They just look at like plastic per kit, usually. And they're not like, oh, these things are extremely cheap in game. So even though they're the same size as a Tempestus Scion or a Primaris Space Marine, even though they're a similar size model, similar amount of plastic, they're a quarter of the points. They will usually keep that price pretty similar. So yeah, that's my main concern. But on lighter news, we got a little bit of a hint there at the end of the article about what's still to come. So maybe I'll make a little bit of a separate video on it, just a super quick, like 5-minute one. And I had predicted the rest of the range in my previous video, but maybe I'll make that separate. And one of my predictions was Hounds. So we've got the Hounds. My other predictions were, I see no reason for them not to bring back the discontinued Forge World options that Kroot used to have, which were extremely loved, extremely popular. Everybody wants them and likes them, which was the Narlock Cavalry and the Greater Narlocks. I could see them doing something different with them, mixing it up a little bit, just because now they've released this new unit of Krootoks, which is essentially like a shock cavalry unit of 3, which is basically the role the Narlocks used to fill. So there's so many directions they could go. They could make the Narlocks either like maybe way more elite. Maybe the guys riding them have different guns, so they're more specialized at taking out vehicles or something. Or maybe they don't have them as a cavalry unit anymore. Maybe it's like 3 of them pulling a big chariot. Same with the Great Narlocks. Like, if we're gonna say that, if they're saying that we can run Kroot as a full range, as a full army, there's no option currently for anti-tank. So I'm assuming that's going to be your Great Narlocks or your Narlocks going to have that ability. Again, so many options you could do. You could have a Great Narlock that's like a transport. You could have one that's carrying heavy guns, heavy weapons. Maybe one of the options is a recycled Tau gun. Maybe it's like a big ion cannon on top that they borrowed from a ghost keel or something. It would be pretty cool to see that. But so at the end of the article, it mentions, oh, wouldn't it be nice if these hounds had a character able to keep up with them? And I think that is probably our confirmation of this silhouetted image that we saw a while ago at the preview for the start of the year, which is now, like, we're about 95% sure that is going to be what's called a Krootor. And that's like it's literally like they're going deep lore. I think there's one little blurb of text about them, and they talk about them being a predator on the Kroot homeworld, and they're an ambush predator. They're basically like a Kroot crocodile, is kind of what it made it seem like, to my understanding. And they say in that little blurb from long ago that it's a more distant relative to Kroot, which would explain why the silhouette it has a lot of different features to normal Kroot. It's got a longer tail, it's got spikes that don't really look like the quills that are standard. So we might be seeing a further branch of the Kroot range, which is cool, which opens up the door for kit bashing and stuff. If they say, yep, this thing is confirmed to be a very distant relative of your standard Kroot, and it looks wildly different, I'll be really excited to see that. But so I think my theory is that guy we saw in the silhouette is going to be the character, and you're going to be able to run him. If I had to guess, I would betcha he's going to be called something like Kroot Beast Shaper, Kroot Beast Master, Beast Handler, something like that. And I betcha he's going to be your dedicated, this is the character you bring when you want to go heavy, like monsters and creatures, and he buffs those. So I betcha he will be able to lead either a unit of hounds, or maybe the unit of the Krootox, what they call them, rampagers or something. And that'll be his dedicated role in the army, is he's the guy that buffs your beasts and your monsters, whereas the normal shapers probably more like buffing the infantry in some way. So yeah, that's about it for today, guys. It's actually more talking than I had meant to do. I went off on several tangents there, but yeah, what do you think of the new Hounds? Let me know down below. How excited are you for the rest of the Kroot stuff? I will be pre-ordering my box as soon as it's available, and very excited to see what the rest of the range shows, because as they said when they previewed that box that we haven't even shown you, it's less than half. And so there's 5 units in that box, so there's got to be at least 6, in theory, at least 6 units still to show. The Hounds would be the first one of them, so then there's going to be a good 5 or so more, if not more. So a lot of ways they can go with it. Very interested to see, but I will let you guys go. Everybody be good, be safe, well behaved, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.